everyone. I'm Jay.
And I'm Sean.
And we watched a movie.
Yes, we did again.
Hey, weird of us, right?
Yeah, we're doing it regularly
now.
Always.
Okay, so she's called Uncle Frank. You can find her on Amazon Prime. I think it's Amazon Video. I always call it Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime is like the whole thing. Amazon Prime is like fast delivery, music, reading, movies. It's the whole shebang, and this is Amazon Video. Anyways, semantics. Unimportant.
Yeah, if you have Prime,
whatever Amazon platform, yes. Yeah. Uncle Frank. It's newly on the platform. And it's one that's kind of been talked about a little bit in indie circles, so I wanted to check it out. And I was not disappointed.
No, it's pretty good.
So this one is written and directed by Alan Ball. So that's a big name in television you may recognize from such hits as 6 Feet Under, my all-time favorite TV show.
It is.
And True Blood. This one takes place in 1973, both in Manhattan and Creekville, South Carolina.
The two main cinematic destinations.
Yeah, in 1973, both equally hip and happening places. No, they're not. They're super not, guys.
They're a little different.
They're a little bit different. So, Beth, a teenager, played by Sophia Lillis, very, very good actress, who is just popping up all over the place lately. We recently watched her in Nancy Drew
and the Hidden Staircase.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You may know her. She played young Camille, the Amy Adams character in Sharp Objects. She also played Beverly in It, the Jessica Chastain one. She was in both of those movies. She was in Gretel and Hansel, the 2020 movie, came out in January, almost a full year ago, back when this year wasn't in dumpster fire yet.
It still kind of
It was just kindling. Yeah. Well, what? What was wrong with it then?
I don't know.
We
I
had
can't
hope.
even remember back then. Did we have hope?
I think we did. I always have hope. I know you're like a super pessimist, but that's just your personality, is like to be super negative all the time.
I'm 2020. I was born to live in this year.
Yes, you were. Perhaps you are even the magnet that is making everything terrible.
It's possible. Although,
maybe
why now?
we need to throw you in a volcano.
Oh.
Which one?
Well, what's the other option besides throwing me in a volcano?
Was there another
option?
option?
Which volcano?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. No, there was no plan B here. Okay, back to Uncle Frank on Amazon Prime, guys. Uncle Frank is the cool uncle that hardly ever visits on family functions, but Beth has always looked up to him because he's the only non-redneck in the family.
Yeah. He got out.
He got out. He went to Manhattan, which is the cool place.
Yeah.
Don't tell everyone. We don't want the word getting out. If it gets crowded, it won't be cool anymore.
No, it will though. It got cooler as more people went there.
All right, fine. Well, as more cool people went there.
Yes.
No, there's a lot of squares who live in Manhattan, I have to say.
Yeah, well.
There's a lot of people in those office buildings.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're cool for office folk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it's all relative. Yeah.
It's all relative to you,
yeah.
Mr. Pessimist.
Yeah.
You see what I'm talking about?
But there we go.
He thinks office people are cool.
Is that pessimistic?
No, it's square. Okay. You're so square. You think rectangles are cool.
Well, yeah. That's legit. That's a good metaphor.
Okay, so back to Uncle Frank. We're never going to get to Uncle Frank, who is played by Paul Bettany. So this is what Beth's family is like, because what she likes about him is he smells nice and his nails are trimmed. But he pays attention to her. He takes her seriously, even though she's just a teenager and she's a girl.
2 strikes already.
Yeah, but talks to her about what she's reading and what she's thinking these days, and so she appreciates that. But he hardly ever comes by, so it is a rare treat when he does. But when he does, we can see why he doesn't, because his dad in particular seems to not be very nice to him. His dad played by Stephen Root.
And if Stephen Root doesn't like you, you're gonna know it.
In this movie, for sure. He's pretty sharp and salty. And I mean, doesn't seem like a super loving, happy family. Beth's father, played by Steve Zahn, which that's all you need to know.
Yeah, that is all you need to know.
Is very Steve Zahn-y in this. I mean, he's just, he's primitive.
Yep.
He's really just kind of a primitive guy. And so eventually Beth escapes South Carolina, heads to Manhattan, goes to school there, and has her eyes opened a little bit by the big city, but also by getting to know her uncle a little better. And by a little better, I mean discovering that he's gay. Which savvy 2020 audiences will have seen coming since Trimmed Nails.
Yeah.
Dead giveaway. Yeah. Like, imagine living in a time when that was gay. Why do we think these things? And for God's sakes, men. Like, there's nothing wrong with being clean. That's not a sexuality thing. That should be a people thing. Okay.
Yeah. You're really... Now you're setting your bar way too high.
So she also learns that Uncle Frank's roommate, Wally, guess what?
Guess what?
Is his boyfriend. They're not just roommates, that's right.
And that wife of Uncle Frank's, guess what?
What?
She's Wally's wife too.
That is true. So Peter Macdissi plays Walid. Even more controversial. He's brown. True. Oh gosh. Anyways, this is merely sort of the opening premise to Steve and Ruth, the dad and granddad to Beth, dying. And Uncle Frank and Beth take a road trip home to South Carolina for the funeral. So in a way, it's a nice trip because she has recently discovered he is not the person she thought he was. And now she can get to know him as his true self, which is kind of a cool thing.
It is, on a road trip.
Yeah. But they are heading towards disaster. This is not going to be a fun funeral.
Nope.
Not one of those.
And they know that going in.
They do know that going in.
Uncle Frank does.
Yeah. Anyways, so it's sad, it's funny, it's sweet, it's sad.
Yeah.
There's a lot of flavors mixing up in this, but I think it's kind of a nice story. Certainly of that time period where they keep saying 1973 is like, hey, it's 1973 now, guys. We can handle this.
Yeah.
And then here we are, like, nearly 50 years later, being like, we didn't handle it.
we really
didn't.
We're still... I think we're at the point where we're like, we never handled anything. Ever. We never, ever handled anything.
That's right. I mean,
what are we going to do now?
That's how you end up with all of these same problems now. Yeah. Is that you never do handle them truly, but you say that you do.
Yeah.
And only the people you're continuing to oppress realize it. Because we are just patting ourselves on the back because it's 1973 and we're super cool with this now. No. So a pretty deep cast. And I know I already told you with the Steve Zahn, but we've got Judy Greer and Margo Martindale, who I love, and Lois Smith is in the cast. So some pretty fun times being gay in 1973 in South Carolina and going home to celebrate your dad's funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it?
I did.
Did you enjoy Uncle Frank on Amazon Prime?
I did enjoy Uncle Frank on Amazon Prime.
I'm glad to hear it.
I did.
So, what do you think it means that we're still telling like queer stories, but from 50 years ago? That's a time period where, it's not like that Kate Winslet Ammonite from 150 years ago.
Yeah.
It's from a time period where we don't remember, but other people have lived through.
Oh, sure.
Is it worth it to go back and tell those stories? And what does it mean to us?
Yeah, I think it's worth it. Mm-hmm. I think it maybe is easier to see the problems if you said it in a different time where you're not so attached to it.
So it doesn't feel as much our fault.
Yeah, that's right. You can say, look how bad they were. We were much better, which I guess maybe is not a great thing because that's the trap that we have found ourselves in repeatedly.
Well, we're supposed to be better.
Yeah.
I don't think that we should be using the word much in this context.
No.
Because I don't see, like,
Yeah.
in some families,
Oh yeah, absolutely. This could be happening
there are
today.
still kids running away to New York City to this day.
Yeah.
Yes. And perhaps the lesson is, don't go home. You can't go home again.
No.
Should you go home again?
Well, maybe only after your dad dies.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do people ever change?
Not really.
Not really.
Or they quickly change and quickly change back.
Should you give them the chance to change?
Sure, give it to them, but don't put yourself out there where they can wound you.
Okay. I think that's fair. I think nobody will change if you don't give them the space and opportunity to do it. But I think you also have to learn your lesson.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well,
I mean,
and
it's
admit
tough.
that you were wrong.
Anyways, did you like Paul Bettany?
Of course I like Paul Bettany.
Okay.
The Avengers Paul Bettany. It's fun to see him in other stuff,
He's
though.
definitely not very vision-y in this.
No, he's really not. But you still know it's him.
He has a mustache.
He does. Imagine Vision with a
1973.
mustache, though.
I am now.
That'd be cool.
I'm envisioning it. No. Note to self, edit that part out. And how about this Sophia Lillis, who's popping up all over the place? Obviously, she must be very good. Doesn't even matter what our opinion is, because everyone's
Everyone likes
casting
her.
her. And like in the lead role of everything.
Yeah,
That's a heck of a way to start your career.
it is.
Just be like, hey, you're automatically number one. Congratulations. Please do not pass go. Do not. You just have won the game of Monopoly. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Try not to make Steve Zahn cry.
That's always the challenge in all of those movies, I guess.
Oh boy. Where did we go wrong with this review, I wonder?
No one knows.
It's a good movie, guys.
It is a good movie.
It is a good movie. Poor Frank is dealing with a lot.
Yes, he is.
1973 and every year before it and many years since, including this one for lots of people. Just because things are better doesn't mean it is universally better.
No.
I'm glad some people are having an easier experience, but not everyone is. And you can have a shitty dad even if you're not gay. But Frank had a hard time growing up. He went through some traumatic events. He's not had the support of his family. He's barely not had a family in his life at all,
No.
avoiding it. And yeah, it turns out that your dad dying is not even totally a solution.
No, it's not.
Yeah. And some people are so cruel they can haunt you even after death. Isn't that a nice takeaway? Goodbye! Boy.
Yeah.
Uncle Frank.
Uncle Frank.
Uncle Frank. Did you have a cool uncle growing up?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Who's your cool uncle?
Uncle Dave.
Aw, Uncle Dave.
Uncle Dave and Aunt Kathy, they used to really get us the best Christmas presents. Because they would go to toy stores, and as legend has it, they would ask kids our ages, what did they want for Christmas?
Wow.
And we would get it. Even though those kids probably didn't. But then they had kids of their own.
Oh, that ruined everything, I bet.
everything.
Yeah. It's true. You only stay the cool uncle if you never have kids.
Yeah. Lesson learned.
Yeah. I had no cool uncles. Still don't, to be honest.
Well, we're not all blessed.
Hashtag Uncle Frank. All right, so did I mention this one's on Amazon Prime? Uncle Frank, Amazon Prime, Amazon Video. Wherever you stream videos on Amazon. Do you have Amazon Prime? Do you get 2-day shipping? Do you get 2-day shipping that actually takes 7 days to get to you?
Yeah, because they don't start to count it until they choose to.
Well, literally, it was like oh, you have 2-day shipping. It'll be arriving in 10 days. And I'm like, how dare you?
Yeah.
Like, just don't call it 2-day shipping. Be like, well, this item doesn't have it. I'm sorry. I order things and it comes in 17 different packages over a cluster of 2 weeks.
It's so weird. How do they make $1 trillion?
I know. They seem pretty inept, to be honest.
Yeah. This is a mystery.
It is a mystery. And I will have to take it to Uncle Frank to find out what's going on.
You can go behind the
I
scenes.
think he was like an English professor. So
he was. He's probably not going to get to the bottom of this.
It's not how you make $1 million.
Yeah.
No, it's really not. So let that be a lesson to you. If you have the makings of a cool uncle, go into tech.
Absolutely.
All right. Have fun watching this on Amazon Prime. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.